Hello, hello, welcome back. Here we are again this fine Sunday night with our latest installment of Scratching the Surface. I again am your pal host, chef, cook guy, Brian. We are throwing together a little bit of the vegetarian shepherd's pie, or our home-brewed version of it. Of course, you may like that, you may not like that. Maybe you want to stick around for a little bit. Even if it's just for to see what Kitty can catch later in the show. And another little thing that was on my mind today, so we're here dicing up the onions to start as the base of our shepherd's pie, was things Brian can't watch. And primarily what he can't watch is professional sports, particularly San Diego Padres. So I threw on all my Padres' finest to celebrate the fact that there's no baseball this weekend and for the foreseeable future. So we're going to start by melting some butter here in our number 11 cast iron frying pan. And the reason we're doing that for the beginning of our shepherd's pie is that we're going to cook this off and bake it in the oven. And since we do not have to deal with anything that might melt in the oven when we use a cast iron frying pan, it's that much easier to go from one place to the next. So we're going to do that. We obviously, or maybe not obviously, washed our hands. We're going to do that again because it's these times with these pressures and these immediacies. So we got this at a medium. Our onions, again, we're going to do that for a sweating out of stuff. Now the whole process on this one is today we're going to attempt to make a roux. So a roux is usually just a combination of a fat and a flour, and is used for thickening things. So we're going to attempt to make a little bit of a gravy of sorts with our shepherd's pie. And of course this is a vegetarian shepherd's pie, so we don't actually have to cook the meat. We have our Eve's Cuisine veggie ground round here that's already been opened up and put together. Now if you're making this at home and you're obviously a meatitarian, then you're going to want to put your beef, and you're just going to brown your beef off or cook it off with your onions right in there together. And you won't need to add the butter that we added, because if you've got yourself some medium or lean ground beef, there's going to be enough fat that comes out of that to cook up your onions, but also to make up your roux after. Now, since the base of our shepherd's pie is going to be that ground, we got to top it with some mashed potatoes. So as we're trying to streamline things and become more quick for folks, I actually cooked off a bunch of potatoes earlier, probably about 7 or 8 fist-sized ones that I'm not going to add some butter to. We're not worrying about our vegan element today, but of course if you do cook vegan at home, then you can just use oil for the base of our shepherd's pie for sauteing stuff, and still using that same ground round. And you don't even have to use much of anything. If you cook your potatoes a little extra, a little over, they'll be soft enough that you can do that. I'm going to put some salt and pepper in here with the butter we already got in there. A couple shakes of the salt, a couple shakes of the pepper. I don't know, again, this is to sight, to feel, to whatever you like. As always, you can always add more, and it's easier to do that than take it out. So we're just going to mash up these potatoes. And again, this time I washed them up in the sink, cubed them up, changed the water, and made it so that we're going to keep the potato skins on today. There's some nutrients in there, so that's good to know, good to have. And so we just got to mash up those potatoes. You know how to mash potatoes, I assume, I hope, and if not, just push them down. And there we go, our man John is great with the camera, rocks the iPad. So now we've got our onions. They're translucent, they're sweated, they're ready for the next stage. And this is where we're going to add the flour, and that's just going to get absorbed by our butter, our melted butter. And that was about a 1/8 of a cup. You just want to have equal amounts usually. You can always add in more flour when you're making a roux, so it's easier to do that than not. So we cook this roux out. Again, we're going to stuff falls on the floor. We like to remember, or say around the house, there's gravity. What does gravity do? Brings people down, right? Even John knows that. He's got it. Gravity brings people down. So again, we're going to season this roux a little bit. We're going to put our salt and pepper back where we know where it goes, on top of the fridge. And we're going to find our friends. That's right, Mr. and Mrs. Bragg. I don't know, somehow it seems to be a staple here. That's why we got the almost liter wurst, 32 fluid ounces. And again, a squirt there. And you're going to see that boils up. And the key to making a decent roux that's not going to be too chunky is to add amounts, a small amount, and then whisk it through, cook it out. So I turn this up to number 5 here on our stove, only because I'm going to watch it. We got some kettle water here, and you see we're going to switch from that spoon that we've been using to a whisk, and we're just going to cook this out, right? So as the water gets absorbed.
Sorry for the minor inconvenience. I pressed the home button, so whoopsie.
So here we are. We're still working on our roux. Our man John is working his magic, having his moments, but that's, hey, one thing we always like to remind here at scratching the surface is that we make mistakes. Things don't go well, things don't go as we anticipated, but we're not going to get excited, we're not going to get worked up. Now is not the time, at least at home amongst loved ones, to find blame and assess fault. We're going to be understanding, we're going to be forgiving, we're going to be thankful. You know, we like to have a little grace here at our house every day that we sit around to have a meal together. Thank you, farmers. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Earth. So we've added this veggie ground round, and those thank yous we shout out are basically just acknowledging that, hey, our food comes from the farmers, so we got to thank them. Whatever your take is on religion or the mighty JC, we give a shout out because love and the golden rule pretty much stands the test of time, and hey, it might get tested by these times, but we'll do it. We'll be all right. And then we thank the earth because there's a little goodness of the interdependence and interconnection of everything. So you're lucky. We only cook on Sundays once a week, so we only get these mini sermons once a week. So now we've added our veggie ground round into that thickened up roux. You see it's coming together there nice. We're not trying to make it too thin. Of course, this roux stuff is all the base of most of your cream sauces or cream soups, and maybe we'll make something like that in the future. But right now, for tonight, we just want to have it feel like there's a bit of a gravy in there. So we got this going on, all set up. We're going to open up our niblets. We got ourselves some niblets here, some corn. If you're somebody who likes to have peas, now's the time to add your canned peas or even your frozen peas. If you've got fresh peas, you probably want to cook them off and give them a little splash before putting them right into your shepherd's pie. So here's our niblets. You throw those in. This is what we like at our house. You add what you want. You got canned corn, canned beans, canned carrots or some of that frozen cut up vegetables. That'll work too. Now we're going to turn this right off. So we've seasoned it. We've added some corn. If I was maybe making this at my workplace, I'd add some other stuff, but we're kind of straight up corn and veggie ground round, folks. So then we're going to even that all off, set it up. We preheated the oven to 400. I'm anticipating finishing it off there. So we're going to take our mashed potatoes and spread those around. You know, you want to do it sort of evenly. You can't, you don't. That's all right. You're just cooking it for yourselves and your family and your loved ones, so hopefully you're taking some time. You know, I remember as a kid watching the old James Beard and the Frugal Gourmet, and if I took away nothing from him was the idea that you remember who you're cooking for, why you're cooking, how you're cooking, and that you love who you're cooking. Don't have quite the same mighty puns that old The Walk with Yan had, but that was my childhood. Maybe you grew up with Julia Childs. Maybe you didn't grow up yet at all, and this is your first foray into actually bothering to watch people cook. If you are, welcome. Glad you joined us. I hope you like it. So there we go. We put our layer of potatoes on top, smoothed them out with our spoons. Put that away. We're going to throw this into the oven, cook it for about 45 minutes to an hour till the potatoes brown up. And then we'll come back, show you the final project. And as always, while we're waiting, we'll go check out what the cat's doing. And Kitty can't catch.
Thanks, Kitty can't catch. Yay!
Here we go. Hermione, look. Whoa. 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 Oh. Hermione, catch it. Oh, she didn't catch that. Let's go see if she'll go for a ping pong ball. Hermione. Oh, there she goes. Go ahead and let's go outside. I got some lights. Hermione, catch the ball. Oh, she's nicking it. Here, Hermione. And one more
Nearly
time.
hit it
One
there.
more time.
Nearly hit it there. Come on. Come on.
Oh!
If only she had caught it.
If only she had caught it. There we go. Ping pong ball. Another thing Kitty can't catch. All right, here we are. We're back. We've spent our 45 minutes or so entertaining ourselves with another fine installment of things Kitty can't catch. Hope you enjoyed that. We're going to pull out. Oh, look at that. There's our shepherd's pie, browned off, looking good. So remember, all we did was bring that water up to a boil. 7 or 8 fist size potatoes cut to about the size of a Yahtzee dice cube. Do that, cook those for about 12-15 minutes at a boil. They'll soften up. We'll mash those with some butter and salt and pepper. Then once again we sweated off our onions, add the flour to the butter that we use, salt and pepper, whisked out that roux, wait until it came up to a boil before we added water each time. Then we threw in our veggie ground round, and then we also had some bragg in there as well just before we threw in that veggie ground round. Cooked that out, added our corn, put our mashed potatoes on top, baked it off, and just like that we have the vegetarian shepherd's pie. Scratching the surface. You can do just as well. Until the next time, take care, friends.